I never felt so safe. Okay. We're here to set a supplemental calendar, the second supplemental calendar. Okay, if you haven't presented your bill yet, you need to get in line. Then you mean you let everybody come in front of the chairman of the committees? Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, be a gentleman. Let the lady go first. Let the lady go first. Come on. Okay, now, right up front, just because your bill makes it potentially to the floor, there's no guarantee that it's going to be called and pulled out. As long as you understand, if it makes it to the floor, it does not mean it's going to be called out. You understand? There is a such thing as a time limit, and the only bills that we're hoping to put on are those that the earth is going to stop turning if we don't. You got one? Yeah. Okay. Earth is going to stop turning if we don't put it on. So unless your bill fits in that category, probably need to go ahead and leave. All right. Yes, ma'am. Tell us what's your bill number, why is it needed, and what do you do?
Thank you,
got
sir.
60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two actually that join together. I have House Resolution 581 that allows for students to take their HOPE allotment and use it as a startup business grant to fund a small business. 581 is actually the constitutional amendment that authorized that allows for the citizens to make the decision if they would like to use that the funds for that purpose. The bill that goes with it, House Bill 1530, is the enabling legislation.
What's that House bill number?
1530.
Okay, 1530 is on the back page. Okay.
Yes, sir. And that bill is the bill that was requested by the Regulated Industries Committee because they wanted to see what the enabling legislation for House Resolution 581 would look like.
Okay. Any questions? He passes. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Werkheiser.
Thank you, Chairman. You've already, on the middle of the next to last page is House Bill 1425. You've already heard two other medical cannabis bills, and if it weren't for Chairman Powell and Chair Lady Cooper, this bill would not be here. I cannot take credit for it. It's a collaboration with those two individuals, along with a couple others in the speaker. This legislation is aimed at resetting the medical marijuana license process to improve transparency and professionalize operations. Does a couple of things. I'll talk fast. It directs the Commission to immediately cancel the current RFP. That means there are no protests, there are no licenses. We've essentially created a time machine and we've gone back about a year and a half. It directs the Commission to immediately take steps to procure, obtain low THC oil in amounts necessary to get it into the hands of the patients. It directs the Commission to immediately take steps to provide for dispensing low THC oil. The Commission will issue a new RFP before no later than December 31st. The new RFP will be managed by the DOAS and evaluated by an independent third party.
Now, you know you're on a 60-second time.
I can stop right there.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Mr. Cantrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bring you two bills that will allow the earth to continue to rotate on its
You better be
axis.
sure.
House Bill 824 is the second one under modified structured rule. This addresses the issue of the fact that we have overfunded our retirement system for over 20 years and provides for a new structure that's fairer and a set amount of contribution with a set amount of benefit. The second bill is on, you want to?
I see no questions. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Second one is under structured rule on the third page, House Bill 931. This bill would allow an owner of a vehicle or the dependent of an owner who has a qualifying disability, which confines them to a wheelchair, it would allow them to exempt TAVT from the cost of the improvements to that vehicle to make it wheelchair accessible.
They'll still pay on the vehicle, but not on the cost of the improvements, right?
That's correct, sir.
Mr. Carson.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Cantrell, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be very clear, House Bill 824, the increase in the benefits, but it has zero cost to the state. Is that not true?
That is true. Zero cost.
Okay, no more questions.
Thank you.
Sir. Yes, sir. Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm presenting House Bill 1483. LC number is 338981. It's located on the blue sheet on the back of the first page, 3/4 of the way down. Purpose of this bill is to encourage more people into the field of social workers by reducing the clinical supervised hours to become a licensed clinical social worker, and as reciprocity to the other states. This brings us more in line with the surrounding states, and with these changes, we hope to increase the workforce in the mental health profession. It also encourages the board for the remainder of the year to look for ways to streamline the process and seek input on ways to increase the workforce.
Okay, I don't see any questions.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Okay, if you don't, if your bill's been heard, no need to be in line. Okay, Mr. Crowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 1553, it's on page 3, about the middle of the page, right above structured rule. This bill will be entitled Bishop's Law. It's named after Captain Robbie Bishop, who was killed on I-20 in Villa Rica back in January of '99. His murderer was arrested after fleeing to Canada, pled guilty, received life imprisonment, and a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, he had been moved to a medium security facility out of a maximum security facility, gained access to a contraband cell phone, and began posting on social media taunting the family of Captain Bishop. This bill would require that any person convicted of murdering a law enforcement officer in the line of duty, their confinement be spent in a maximum security facility for the duration, or if they're moved, that there be written justification and the family be notified before they're moved.
See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Maynard.
Thank you, Chair. I am here to present H.R. 798. It is a study committee on cannabis waste and disposal. Right now, we are entering into this cannabis and hemp market, and the uses that we have right now is just a very small piece of the plant that you use, but other states are using the rest of the plant for biofuel and carpet and lots of other things. So this bill will just allow us to do a study committee to learn about all the different ways we can use the waste to improve the profits or revenue in Georgia.
Okay. See no questions. Thank you, ma'am. Chairman Cooper. Chairman Cooper, you got your light blinking. You got a bill out here, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, House Bill 937 was the one that was recommitted to health. We made the changes that were requested by the committee members and leadership, and I would like to ask for that again. may not seem earth-shaking to many, but women who have breast cancer, and to this one person who do not want
You'll
other
have to
women
speak
go
up,
through the problems she
nobody
went
can
through.
hear you.
Oh,
Try again, I'll give you some more volume.
okay.
Go ahead.
House Bill 937 was one that was recommitted to health. We made the changes that two members of the leadership of this committee asked for, and I would like to ask for it again. I've never seen a more humble, more dedicated person trying to help other women not go through what she has gone through for breast cancer, and I would like to ask for that. And I was going to ask for the Hungry Dog Bill, but I can't find it on here. But just once, I'd like for Georgia to be hip instead of always being behind on things. So,
We do have the adoptable dog as our.
Okay, let's Calvin, Ambassador Smyrer, you've got, House Bill 1335.
Yes, sir. You want me to move? No. House.
I can't hear you.
Okay. House Bill 1335, that's the bill that would create an additional holiday and conform the state with the federal holidays, Juneteenth.
Okay. Anybody with questions? See none. Mr. Williams, don't you have one that you haven't asked for?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I asked for it this morning, but if you want me to speak
Well, go
a little
ahead and ask
louder.
for it again.
1184, I'm asking that this committee pass this bill out. It's a very simple bill. Applies to SAT and ATC test taking, giving you the right to take it at your school during school hours, but you do have the right to opt in.
Well, you know, I know you talked about that this morning, but you got another one on here that you hadn't talked about, 1187.
Which one is that? I'll certainly take it.
Excuse me, wrong William. Where is no?
1185.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Hey,
If someone here looks like me, I want to meet this beautiful person. Gee,
That would be a scary thought to have two.
wow. Let them speak.
Yeah. Okay, we have a rule substitute for House Bill 1387. It's rule substitute LC 393411S. It'll be presented by Chairman Jaspers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We offer a rule substitute to 1387. I want to thank Chairman Jay Collins for working with the caucus secretary, Bruce Williamson, and myself to address concerns from our district, and I'm sure yours. What this rule subs does is it clarifies that school zone speed cameras can only be used during the time in which school is in session, an hour before and after begins and lets out. The school zone cameras can still be used during other school-related events, such as summer school. Previously, there was uncertainty as to whether school zone speed cameras could be used during these non-school hours. It also heightens the warning requirement by replacing the current white warning sign with a bright yellow sign which flashes when the speed camera is in use. This bill makes it clear if the camera is active, the camera warning lights must be turned on.
Okay, got a question? Ms. Taylor? Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. It just so happened I had a constituent contact me in the last couple of weeks in a school zone. They took the picture. Their watch said 8:30 and the picture said 8:29. And there was a little discrepancy. They actually pulled out from a side street that was in between the school zone notice. I told them to pay the ticket, which they did, but it did seem like it was a little bit of a catch.
Oh, they do them on Sunday afternoon, Saturday night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Th-
Well,
This,
No, it
Go
was-
ahead,
it
Aaron.
was
This
during the
this will
school
help.
time.
If the camera is operational, it'll have to have the yellow flashing light, which they would know then.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams, you have a quick question, or I didn't turn you off a while ago. Okay, we have LC 393411S as a substitute for House Bill 1387. Do I hear a move?
Move.
Got a move and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay. We're going to set a new supplemental calendar. 424. Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm asking for House Bill 424 in the absence of Chairman Shaw Blackman of Ways and Means Committee. This bill, the language of this bill travels to us from the Senate. It's been passed by the Senate. They agreed with Chairman Smith and Chairman Blackman that it's more appropriately it should ride under a House bill number. What the bill does is it allows taxpayers to redirect up to $2,500 per individual or $5,000 of the Georgia state income taxes to aging out to care support organizations that will be pre-approved by the Department of Revenue under the terms of this bill to care for foster children that are aging out of the system. And the qualified organization means a foster child support organization that's been certified to provide wraparound services, which means services provided directly to aging foster children to support their education through post-secondary education services, housing, medical services, counseling, mentorship services, and nutrition services. So that's simply what the bill does.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Whoop, who's 42? Chairman Martin.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, on behalf of the Silers and UGA, I'd like to ask for the Hungry Dog Bill, HB 1376. So in fact, the big dog can eat.
Okay, I guess it's now time to set the calendar for the next supplemental calendar. Y'all listen up, we're gonna go pretty quick because we should be inside. House Bill 824, its own. House Bill 830, its own. House Bill 918, its own. House Bill 937, its own. House Bill 972, its own. I have a rule substitute 1068, LC 510177S, its own. House Bill 1184, its own. House Bill 1283, its own. House Bill 1335, its own. House Bill 1387, its own. As a rule substitute, 393411S. House Bill 1390, its own. House Bill 1425, its own. House Bill 1464, its own. House Bill 1482, its own. House Bill 1483, its own. House Bill 1499, its own. House Bill 1515, its own. House Bill 1516, its own. House Bill 1533, its own. House Bill 424, its own. House Bill 931, its own. House Bill 997, its own. House Bill 1034, its own. That's, no, I hope not. Okay, yeah, excuse me. Also, House Bill 1553, its own. The chances of all of these make it might be slim. Want to be sure that the world will stop turning if it don't make it. Meeting's adjourned. May see y'all one more time. Hope not, but may.